A late-night post from New York's most notorious bachelor just broke the internet. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I'm just finding out now. My love, my daughter, where are you? Please come back. The entire internet was suddenly searching for the runaway mother of his child. The next day, a popular actress suddenly posted a mother-daughter photo. Time to come clean. The little girl I've been calling my 6-year-old niece is actually my daughter. Everyone was stunned. The it girl was the mystery woman. I glanced at the trending hashtag, then at my daughter, who was a spitting image of New York's most eligible bachelor, and my mind started racing. The first thing I saw this morning were trending topics all about New York's crown prince. NYC bachelor seeks family. Secret baby drama. I clicked on one of the hashtags, and the comment sections were on fire. OMG, this is so exciting. I can't believe the crown prince got the secret baby treatment. This is like something out of a dream. Who is this woman? She's brave enough to dump the prince and raise their child alone for 6 years. A wave of unease washed over me. How could Ethan suddenly know he had a 6-year-old daughter? When I'd suggested we go our separate ways back then, he didn't seem to care at all. He just let me walk away. While I was still trying to figure it out, my daughter, with her delicate features, quietly walked over to me. Mom, I finished my summer homework. Can you buy me that intermediate coding book now? Staring at my daughter, who looked like a miniature version of Ethan, my stomach dropped. Could someone have secretly taken her picture and sent it to him? The thought sent me into a panic. My first instinct was to pack our things and move. Immediately. Lily, how about we get your coding book tomorrow? Go pack your things right now. Mommy's going to take you on a trip. Lily pursed her lips. She's always been a quiet kid, preferring books and her own little projects to playing outside. But seeing me frantically starting to pack, she nodded obediently. Okay. I was about to grab our essentials and bolt when my phone rang. Ring, ring, ring. My heart leaped into my throat. Had Ethan already found us? I grabbed my phone and saw it was my agent, Mark. I breathed a sigh of relief and answered. Mark's cold voice came through the line. Wendy, did you sign another endorsement behind my back again? How many times have I told you that your current image isn't right for commercials? I gave that toothpaste ad to Ashley. And you should thank Ashley for being willing to clean up this mess for you. Otherwise, the moment that ad aired, you'd be dragged all over social media again. Not only would you not make a dime, you'd be stuck paying a hefty breach of contract fine. So my gig gets stolen, and I'm supposed to thank the person who stole it? This wasn't the first time. Ashley and I got our start on the same reality competition show. Neither of us had any real training in singing or dancing. But when she went on stage and sang the wrong lyrics, messed up the choreography, and was constantly spacing out or having accidents, the fans called her real and relatable. Her fan base grew and grew. I, on the other hand, practiced until midnight to avoid making a fool of myself and delivered a flawless performance. The viewers said I was a scheming try-hard, deliberately performing next to Ashley to make her look unprofessional. They voted Ashley into first place. I barely scraped by in second. After we signed with the same agency, the opportunities one worked my butt off to get were constantly snatched away by Ashley. Now, she's a rising star. And I'm still a nobody. I refused without hesitation. I don't agree. Even if I have to pay a fine, that's my problem. You know I have a daughter to support. I need the money. The pay for this ad was decent. Hearing this, Mark just scoffed. Oh, so you do know you're broke? Then what about the parenting reality show I worked so hard to get you? The appearance fee is even bigger. How could you have the nerve to turn that down? I frowned, unable to explain. My daughter's face is just too much like a female version of Ethan. The second she appeared in public, she'd be recognized. But Mark delivered his ultimatum. The toothpaste company has already agreed to switch to Ashley. And you need to stop competing with her. After all, her backer is the Crown Prince of New York. As for the parenting show, I'll give you one more day to think about it. Ashley's wealthy backer is Ethan? What do you mean? Mark didn't want to waste any more time on me. Go look at what's trending, he said, then hung up. Confused, I opened up X. I saw that Ashley had posted something 10 minutes ago. Time to come clean. The little girl I've been calling my 6-year-old niece is actually my daughter. She attached a photo of herself with a little girl, both with cute matching top knots and wearing identical outfits. It was clearly a mother-daughter picture. The internet was in shock, but her fans were ecstatic. Ashley was spotted with a daughter before and lied, saying it was her niece. I knew she was hiding something. I can't believe it. Ashley is the runaway mother. I mean, she totally fits the part of the beautiful wife from the romance novels. OMG. Our girl Ashley is so low-key, but when she makes a move, it's huge. Ashley, you even dared to dump the prince. You're my hero. I love you even more now. I was floored. Didn't Ethan always have his heart set on his old flame? 6 years ago, besides me, he was involved with Ashley, too? Ethan and I were in college together. He was a year ahead of me. He was dazzling. On the first day of school, he pulled up to the freshman orientation in a flashy sports car and took the stage to expose a sleazy professor who was coercing a female grad student. It caused a massive uproar. Nearly every girl on campus was captivated by him. I was no exception. After finding out he was the student government president, I joined, even though I was already busy working part-time jobs to make ends meet. He was different from everyone else. Handsome, bold, arrogant, with an innate air of nobility. He handled problems with ruthless efficiency. Maybe he was just too exceptional. At a student government party, some freshman girl tried to drug him, hoping to force his hand. Unfortunately, both Ethan and I got caught in the crossfire. When Ethan woke up and saw me, he said only one thing. I'm sorry. There's someone else in my heart, so I can't take responsibility for this. But name your price. I'll give you whatever you want. At the time, my mother was seriously ill, and I was desperate for money. And I didn't want him to feel burdened. I asked for $30,000. To this day, I can still remember the look in his eyes. Disappointment, coldness, and mockery. He transferred the money to me on the spot. Then he had the morning after pill delivered. The moment I took that pill in front of him, I knew that from then on, Ethan and I could only ever be strangers. What I never expected was that one day, a drunk Ethan would show up in front of me with a pile of cash. He asked me to be his girlfriend. I must have been out of my mind, because I accepted his humiliating proposal. I later found out that was the day his brother married his old flame. Ethan was probably desperate to draw a line between us. So every single time we were intimate, he would transfer me a sum of money the next morning. To put his mind at ease, would always take the pill in front of him. As graduation approached, I knew it was time to make a clean break. The last time he sent me money, I didn't accept it. I told him I'd earned enough and didn't want to continue. He was silent for a long moment, then nodded. I don't know what expression he had on his face. I couldn't bring myself to look at him, afraid I'd find it hard to let go. The truth was, my mother's illness still wasn't cured, and I was still desperate for money. That's when Mark, a talent scout, told me I had a unique and memorable look and wanted to sign me. I never imagined that 2 months later, I'd find out I was pregnant. Mark was deeply disappointed in me because I refused to get an abortion. By the time I had the baby and was ready to launch my career, he was already cold and indifferent toward me. As I was lost in my memories, a text message came in. It was my landlord. This quarter's rent is due in the next couple of days. I sighed in frustration. I was really in a bind. The toothpaste ad was gone, which meant the parenting show was my only option. I tried to reason with myself. It's been 6 years, and Ethan has never once looked for me. Maybe back in college, he had Ashley, Bethany, and whoever else on the side, not just me. He's probably forgotten I even exist. If I'm careful, make my daughter wear a mask, or even disguise her a bit with makeup, we probably won't get recognized, right? To avoid ending up on the street with my daughter, I had to take the gamble. Let's Go, Little One, the parenting show, was a live-streamed reality series. I personally did some subtle makeup on my daughter. Her features didn't look so much like Ethan's anymore. To be on the safe side, I also had her wear a mask. When we arrived at the set, 2 other pairs of parents and kids were already there. I was about to ask when the live stream would start when a chic and cute Ashley walked in, holding the hand of a little girl who was also wearing pigtails and a matching adorable outfit. I froze. Ashley was on this show, too. But then again, it made sense. Ashley was at the peak of her career, and a show like this would only make her more popular. When Ashley saw me and my daughter, she just shot us a disdainful look. The host saw that all the guests had arrived and immediately announced the start of the live stream. He asked everyone to introduce themselves. Ashley went first. She smiled and proudly pushed her daughter forward. I'm so happy to be on this show. I'd like to formally introduce my biological daughter, Flora. The viewers in the live chat flooded the screen with comments. Wow! The prince's daughter is so cute. So adorable. I just want to give her a kiss. Ashley has great genes. Her daughter is just as lovable as she is. Just then, one user commented. Don't they say daughters usually look like their dads? Why doesn't Ashley's daughter look much like the crown prince? Because there was a giant screen in front of us, we could see the live comments directly. I saw Ashley's face stiffen when she read that. But her fans quickly shot back. Who says a daughter has to look like her dad? It's great that she looks like our Ashley. She's so cute and pretty. Trying to change the subject, Ashley had an idea and looked at me with feigned intimacy. Wendy, you've kept your daughter hidden so well. I only just found out a couple of days ago that you had a daughter this old. How old is she? And why is she wearing a mask on such a hot day? Startled, I immediately gave the excuse I had prepared. She's 5. She caught a little cold last night, so she's wearing a mask. The moment I said it, the viewers went off. Ugh, I just realized that's Wendy. Why is she here? What a buzzkill. Her daughter has a cold? Huh, she doesn't look like she knows how to be a mother. She probably didn't take care of her own daughter and let her get sick. TSK, TSK. I bet it's not a cold. Her daughter's probably too ugly to show her face. Maybe she's the ugly duckling of some pig-faced sugar daddy. I saw the comments, and my eyes went cold. These trolls could attack me all they want, but leave a child out of it. I started to regret bringing my daughter here. What if this gave her a complex? I quickly turned to my daughter, about to cover her eyes so she wouldn't see the screen. But just then, Ashley suddenly pulled down my daughter's mask. Wendy, when a child is sick, you can't just cover them up. I tried to stop her, but it was too late. When Ashley saw my daughter's delicate, coolly beautiful little face, she froze. She seemed stunned that my daughter was this pretty. She looked a little sheepish. The viewers in the live chat also paused for a second, at a loss for what to say. Ashley was about to back down when her eyes caught something, and she gasped in shock. Wendy, did you put makeup on your daughter? How could you? A child's skin is so delicate. You'd stoop this low for attention? Have you even thought about what's best for her? Quick, someone get me some gentle, no-rinse makeup remover. I'll take it off for the baby. Seeing this, the viewers exploded in anger at me. Wendy is a monster. Putting makeup on a child that young? Is she not afraid it will ruin her daughter's skin? I can't watch this anymore. She's so vain. She knows her kid is ugly and is afraid of being embarrassed, so she puts makeup on her without a second thought for her well-being. She doesn't deserve to be a mother. I'm so mad I could scream. Get that trash Wendy and her ugly daughter out of the entertainment industry. When I saw Ashley's assistant bring over the makeup remover, I instinctively tried to stop them. I explained, I use cosmetics made specifically for children. It won't hurt her skin. But the other two guests, equally furious, blocked me. Wendy, if you have any maternal love at all, you'll shut your mouth. There's no such thing as makeup that doesn't harm the skin. Ashley gave her assistant a look, and the assistant grabbed my daughter's hands. Moving with lightning speed, Ashley began wiping my daughter's face, cooing, "Sweetie, your auntie is taking off your makeup for you. This way, it won't hurt your skin." My daughter couldn't fight back. The viewers were ecstatic. "Ha ha ha, we're finally going to see how ugly Wendy's daughter really is. I can't wait. Maybe after we see her ugly face, we can guess which one of her greasy, pig-faced backers is the father." Soon, Ashley had wiped all the makeup off my daughter's face. The crowd and Ashley were buzzing with anticipation. However, when Ashley saw my daughter's real face, she froze, completely motionless. The viewers, who had been waiting with bated breath, fell into a dead silence as they saw my daughter's true appearance. After what felt like an eternity, someone in the live chat spammed the screen with shocked emojis. "Ah! Help! What is going on? Why does Wendy's daughter look exactly like the Crown Prince of New York?" The crew on set, who didn't know the backstory, looked at my daughter's face, which was even more delicate and rosy without the makeup. They were all completely baffled, whispering among themselves. Don't people usually use makeup to make their kids look prettier? Is Wendy actually competing with her own daughter? Is she so jealous of her daughter's looks that she made her look plainer? With someone who cares so little about her daughter's well-being, anything is possible. They were still relentlessly trashing me. But I had no time to argue back. While Ashley and the others were still in shock, I quickly pulled my daughter behind me. At that moment, a recovered Ashley asked me, her voice a mix of shock and anxiety, "Wendy, didn't you say your husband died a long time ago? Why does your daughter look?" Afraid of what she might say, I cut her off loudly. "She looks too beautiful. My late husband was devastatingly handsome. My daughter inherited our genes, and she's so pretty that I was afraid she'd attract too much attention on the show and get into trouble, so I tried to make her look more ordinary. Now you know the truth. Are you all satisfied?" After hearing my explanation, Ashley still looked suspicious. Even the host and the director were looking at me with undisguised doubt. The viewers in the live chat, however, seemed to have connected the dots and started chattering away. I remember Wendy said her daughter is 5 and her husband is dead. So the fact that she looks like the Crown Prince must just be a coincidence. Yeah, that has to be it. If a nobody like Wendy really had the prince's daughter, with her vanity, wouldn't she have run to him immediately? Exactly. And remember? There have been cases of people who look like they were cast from the same mold, mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, even siblings, who are completely unrelated. I remember that. It's true. One of my favorite idols was teased for looking exactly like a certain male comedian, and people said they were long-lost siblings, but they have zero connection. I had been on the verge of a panic attack, wanting to grab my daughter and run. But seeing the viewers rationalize it all away, I let out a huge sigh of relief. The contract penalty was too high. Besides, Ethan probably wouldn't be bored enough to watch a parenting show live stream. And even if he did see it, I could use the viewers' own excuses to deny everything later. With that figured out, I felt safe enough to stay. What I didn't know was that because my daughter looked so much like Ethan, the trending topics had exploded. Countless users flocked to the stream just to see how much my daughter resembled him. One by one, they were left dumbfounded. Oh my God, the resemblance is insane. Do you think maybe the wife and daughter the prince is looking for are actually Wendy and her daughter? Ha ha ha, if that's true, this is going to be so much fun to watch. Give it a rest. Ashley and her daughter are the real deal. They practically made an official announcement. Stop trying to give Wendy credit she doesn't deserve. As if she's even worthy. Hey, do you think maybe Wendy's dead husband was related to the prince's family? Like, A long-lost half-brother or something? Otherwise, how could they look so similar? That's actually possible. A person like Wendy would probably only end up with an illegitimate son anyway. Reading the comments, I found another excuse I could use and felt even more at ease. If Ethan really was bored enough to come looking for me, I'd use that as my story. Of course, I hoped I was just overthinking it and that Ethan had long forgotten about me. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. The next morning on the set of the parenting show, the host's face was glowing with excitement. Yesterday's live stream ratings were double our usual numbers. In response to overwhelming viewer demand, we've decided that a child's growth requires both a mother and a father. So, we worked through the night to invite the children's fathers. By this afternoon at the latest, all the dads will be here. The news hit me like a ton of bricks. I almost fainted. The children's fathers? I quickly spoke up. My husband already. The host smiled and reassured me. Don't worry, the production team is aware of your situation, so we've invited another guest to play the role of the father for your daughter. His words did nothing to calm me down. Ashley's daughter's father is Ethan. Does that mean Ethan is going to show up? The live chat was going wild. What does the host mean? Is the Crown Prince of New York actually coming? Whoa. How connected is this show? They can even get the Crown Prince? Don't be dumb. Obviously, our girl Ashley told the prince to come. Otherwise, with his personality, he wouldn't give anyone the time of day. If he didn't want to be here, not even God could drag him here. Whoa, this feels like it's about to be a massive showdown. I can't wait to see the look on the prince's face when he sees Wendy's daughter. He's never going to expect a stranger's kid to look so much like him. Everyone was excited. I was the only one who felt like my world was ending. The entire morning passed in a daze. Hey! Young lady, can't you hear me? How much for these vegetables? An older woman's loud shouts finally snapped me out of it. My daughter, Lily, had already answered calmly. $1.50 a pound. Ma'am, how much would you like? The woman said she wanted 2 pounds. Lily expertly weighed the vegetables for her. I knew the people in the live chat were probably tearing me apart again. But right now, I didn't have the energy to care. I looked at my well-behaved daughter, my mind racing. Lily is so smart. If Ethan shows up and she sees him, will she start to suspect something? Afternoon arrived right on schedule. We were all waiting in the cool village community hall. The number of viewers in the live stream hit a new record, all seemingly waiting for Ethan to appear. Before long, 3 men in sharp suits, looking like models, walked in, silhouetted against the light from the doorway. Everyone was filled with anticipation. I was filled with anxiety. When I got a clear look at their faces, I quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Then I noticed that Ashley, beside me, also let out a sigh of relief. The color returned to her once pale face. 2 of the men walked naturally over to their own wives and children. The third, a man with strong, handsome features, glanced at me before walking over to my side. Just as I was thinking Ethan probably wasn't coming, a gasp came from the doorway. Everyone turned to look. A tall, slender man stood there, one hand in his pocket. He strode in slowly, his polished leather shoes gleaming, backlit by the sun. His hair was slicked back, revealing a smooth, broad forehead, and his devastatingly handsome features commanded everyone's attention. Just standing there with a blank expression, he radiated an air of arrogant, aristocratic coolness. The moment I saw him, my breath caught in my throat. It had been 6 years. Ethan seemed different, yet somehow exactly the same. The viewers in the live chat went absolutely wild the moment Ethan appeared. He's so handsome. Oh my God. I used to think the photos of him in financial news were edited, but now I see they actually made him look worse. He's ridiculously good looking in person. Oh. Now that's what a powerful CEO should look like. The fake ones on TV can't even begin to replicate his presence. I'm so excited. Go reunite with Ashley and Flora. I can't wait to see their family being all lovey-dovey. Ethan didn't notice the comments on the screen. After he walked in, his deep, indifferent eyes slowly scanned the room. When his gaze passed over me, it didn't linger for even a second. Instead of feeling disappointed, I was relieved. But to my surprise, the next second, his sharp eyes locked onto my daughter standing beside me. My stomach dropped. I instinctively tried to hide her behind me. At that moment, the host spoke to Ethan in a fawning tone. "Mr. Hayes, I know you must be dying to embrace your wife and daughter, but could I trouble you for just a minute? We'd love to know how you're feeling right now, seeing your wife and daughter in person." As he spoke, he pointedly glanced at Ashley. The viewers, seeing this, also looked at Ethan expectantly. Ethan's eyes flickered toward me, then he said coolly, "Awful." Everyone, including me, froze. But a moment later, a bitter smile formed on my lips. I understood why Ethan said that. This was supposed to be a happy day where he reunited with his wife and daughter, but then he shows up and sees me, an eyesore from his past. Of course he'd be in a bad mood. The viewers also fell silent, all trying to guess what was going on. Could it be that Ashley used some shady tactics to have the baby, so the prince doesn't want to acknowledge her? That can't be right. If he didn't want to acknowledge them, he wouldn't have posted that shocking announcement about finding out he has a daughter, right? The host was also at a loss. He let out a nervous laugh and quickly tried to smooth things over. "It must be because I'm delaying your family reunion. That's why you're in a bad mood, ha ha ha. Mr. Hayes is just so eager to be with Miss Lynn and their daughter. Please, Mr. Hayes, go ahead." The host gestured for him to walk toward Ashley and Flora. Everyone was waiting in anticipation, but the viewers in the live chat noticed something and were confused. Wait, look at Ashley's expression. Why does she look so guilty? Before anyone could react, Ethan's brow furrowed in annoyance. In a magnetic, pleasant voice, he delivered the coldest, most ruthless words. "Who the hell are they? They think they're worthy of being my wife and daughter? Are you all blind? My beautiful, adorable daughter looks exactly like me. Couldn't you tell? And I'm in an awful mood because you all have the audacity to let another man stand next to my wife and daughter right in front of me." With that, Ethan's face went cold as he strode over to me with his long legs. He forcefully pushed aside the man standing next to me. Then he turned, lowered his gaze, and gave me a faint look. Everyone in the room stared, dumbfounded. They had completely forgotten how to speak. The live chat fell into a bizarre silence. After what felt like an eternity, that one user from before exploded with excitement, practically smashing their keyboard. "Holy crap. Oh my god. I knew it. Wendy and her daughter are the ones the prince was looking for. I was right all along. Me too. From the very beginning, I thought even a blind person could see that Wendy's daughter is a spitting image of the prince. Meanwhile, that other one who's just trying to ride the hype train, her daughter is so plain. How did she have the nerve to pull this clout-chasing stunt? I thought it was some kind of genetic mutation. I was thinking, how unlucky is the prince to have such an ordinary-looking daughter. Turns out it was just a desperate attempt to stay relevant. I'm dying. Ha ha ha, what's wrong, Ashley's fans? Cat got your tongue? Weren't you all so loud and proud before? Wait, I'm seriously curious. If Wendy and the prince have a daughter together, why didn't she come forward? Why did she hide it and quietly remain a universally disliked nobody? I really want to know what she was thinking. Seconded. This X1000. I didn't have time to read the comments. Ethan was just standing next to me, not saying a word. But his presence, and the faint scent of pine and cologne coming from him, felt like it was wrapping around me, suffocating me. I found it incredibly difficult to even turn my head. My whole body was stiff as a board. In this moment, I should have immediately denied what he'd just said. But the excuses I had prepared now seemed incredibly flimsy and weak. My throat felt tight, too ashamed to even voice them. My mind was a blank. I can barely remember how the tasks were assigned after that. By the time I came to my senses, I was leading Lily, carrying a small basket, to go around the village and ask the residents for meat and vegetables for dinner. And Ethan was following behind us the whole time, silent. I didn't have to turn around to feel his gaze fixed on me. As I was walking, I suddenly felt my hand being taken. I jumped, then let out a huge sigh of relief when I realized it was my daughter. Lily's light eyes were filled with worry as she looked at me. I forced a smile. At the same time, my heart ached with guilt for her. Right now, she was probably even more confused than I was. The father she was told had died long ago had suddenly appeared. But she was so mature that she didn't ask a single question, and was instead worried about me. I didn't know what Ethan was planning, so for now, I just had to get through the rest of the live stream. Getting vegetables and meat from the villagers actually meant helping them with tasks they assigned. Things like watering their vegetable gardens or cleaning up. In return, they would give us the corresponding food. When one woman brought over a bucket of pig feed and asked me to feed the pigs, a large hand reached out before mine, lifted the bucket, and headed to the pig pen. He picked up the scoop and started putting the feed into the trough. I was completely shocked. Ethan grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He'd never done anything like this. Even the viewers noticed and started discussing it with amusement. Ha ha ha, this is the first time in my life I've seen the Crown Prince feeding pigs. This is so wild. Even though he looks so good doing it, his movements are definitely clumsy. The way his face went blank for a second when the pig accidentally knocked some feed on the ground was so funny. It's such a cute contrast. Suddenly I'm so jealous of that girl Wendy. She's been eating so well in private. Ugh, when will I get to date a prince like that? I was just as stunned. The Ethan from 6 years ago was something of a germaphobe. Both physically and mentally. I never would have imagined him personally feeding pigs. Aside from the slight pursing of his lips, there was no other expression of disgust on his face. For the rest of the villagers' tasks, Ethan silently took them on before I could, one after another. When we got back to the communal kitchen, I was afraid this man, who had never lifted a finger in the kitchen, would suddenly try to show off his cooking skills. Thankfully, he stayed in character. He just sat at the table with Lily. When Ethan saw Lily take out her coding book, his eyes softened. In his deep, pleasant voice, he asked, "You like coding?" One of my majors in college was computer science. Lily looked up at Ethan. Her light brown eyes met his. A thought seemed to cross her mind. She asked, "Has Mom even acknowledged you? What makes you think you can call yourself Dad?" Lily's single sentence silenced the entire live chat. Whoa. I thought this was going to be a heartwarming father-daughter moment. That took a sharp turn. Ha ha ha, at first I thought Lily was just a quiet, introverted little girl. Turns out she's just socially aloof and can't be bothered to talk to most people. Has anyone noticed that the prince and his daughter have the exact same rebellious streak? Like father, like daughter, I guess? Hearing this, Ethan didn't get angry. Instead, he raised an eyebrow. He leaned a little closer to Lily and whispered, "Want to guess why your mom decided to have you in the first place?" Lily was instantly hit where it hurt. She glared at Ethan. Ethan flashed a triumphant little smile. The viewers in the live chat saw the sparks flying between the father and daughter, and their jaws dropped. Is it just me, or does it look like this father and daughter are competing for attention? Ugh, I'm even more jealous of Wendy now. If I could watch this gorgeous father-daughter duo fight over me every day, I don't know how I'd ever be in a bad mood. Lily probably never expected Ethan to shut her down with a single sentence. She just lowered her head and went back to ignoring him. Just then, Ashley and her group returned. I only then realized that the handsome man had been assigned to Ashley's team. The moment Ashley came back, her eyes went straight to Ethan. She sidled up to my daughter, acting overly familiar. "Lily, are you doing your homework? If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask your auntie." As she spoke, she shot a shy glance at Ethan, who was sitting nearby. Ethan didn't even give her a single look. Lily, however, didn't hold back. She pointed to a section in her book and asked, "Why isn't my image displaying, even though my syntax, formatting, and quotes are all correct?" Ashley was completely clueless. After looking at the page, she said awkwardly, Lily, you're so young. Why are you reading a coding book? Can you even understand it?" She was clearly implying that Lily was just pretending. I had just started to frown when Ethan's cool voice cut in. "You're using an absolute path, which is prone to errors. You need to be more flexible and use a relative path instead." Realization dawned on Lily's face, which she quickly tried to hide, muttering, "I wasn't asking you." She lowered her head and went back to her book. Ashley saw her chance and looked at Ethan with an expression of pure adoration. Her big, innocent eyes blinked as she said sweetly, "Mr. Hayes, you're so brilliant. By the way, Wendy and I are from the same agency we started out together. Wendy told me her daughter is only 5 and that her husband passed away. I just don't understand why she would lie to me." The viewers in the live chat were speechless. This Ashley girl is such a troublemaker. Isn't she clearly implying that 5-year-old Lily isn't the 6-year-old daughter the prince is looking for? Her own clout-chasing stunt failed, and she still has the nerve to say this stuff. She's so shameless. I, of course, also understood that Ashley was suggesting Ethan should get a paternity test for my daughter. Even if they looked alike, it didn't mean my daughter was really the one he was looking for. Ethan's gaze shot toward Ashley, sharp and cold. "The smell of your cheap perfume is making me sick. From now on, I don't want to see you in the public eye again." That one sentence made the color drain from Ashley's face. The people in the live chat, however, cheered. "Go, Prince. He's definitely saying he's going to blacklist Ashley. TSK, TSK. I've been wanting to say this for a while. Ashley gives off this strong vibe of a fake, manipulative nice girl. I have no idea how she ever got famous. Good riddance. I can't stand her overly dramatic act. A minute ago, it looked like she wanted to throw herself at the prince and seduce him right there." Tears quickly welled up in Ashley's eyes. She put on a brave face, looking humiliated but defiant as she argued, "You can't be so heartless. I didn't do anything to you. If you blacklist me, you're pushing me to a dead end." Ethan's eyes grew even colder. "When you were pushing Wendy to a dead end, did you ever think this day would come?" He continued slowly, 5 years ago, when you and Wendy were on that competition show, you cozied up to the judges and bought bots to steal the first-place title that should have been hers. After signing with the same agency, you got involved with a senior executive, and many of Wendy's opportunities were handed to you. Even the gigs she found for herself were given to you under his orders. You knew Wendy was supporting a child and paying for her seriously ill mother's medical bills, yet you not only stole her endorsement deals, you also had people suppress her behind the scenes. For years, you fabricated countless smear campaigns against her. You made it so that during her most difficult time, she lost her mother forever because she couldn't afford the care. You're very bold. Even the opportunity one arranged for Wendy after I returned to the country a year ago, you dared to snatch it. All this time, I thought she just didn't want the resources I was offering. If I hadn't had someone look into it, I never would have known that for the past 6 years, Wendy has been constantly bullied by you. Do you still think you haven't done anything to me?" With every sentence Ethan spoke, Ashley's face grew another shade grayer. The viewers in the live chat were also stunned. This is some major tea. So all of Wendy's negative press over the years was fabricated by Ashley behind the scenes. Back when Wendy was getting so much hate, I was so confused. I couldn't understand why she suddenly became so universally disliked. Turns out it was all manufactured by paid trolls. Wow. A real-life case of a hero protecting his wife. The prince is so powerful. I'm once again dying of envy. I looked at Ethan in shock. So he only returned to the country a year ago. No wonder that over the past 6 years, I had only started finding news about him in the last year. Ethan seemed to sense my gaze. He turned his head, and his deep, unreadable eyes met mine. Ethan stood up and walked toward me, step by step. I was in the middle of chopping vegetables, and for some reason, I felt flustered and forgot what I was doing. When Ethan reached me, he took my hand and led me to a deserted corner. His eyes were dark and intense as he asked me, "Wendy, I had you investigated recently without your consent. I just found out that when you left me, your mother's illness had worsened, and you were still desperate for money. Why did you lie? And why would you rather raise Lily alone than tell me anything?" I looked at Ethan, who had shed some of his youthful immaturity and become more mature and steady, yet even more captivating. A sharp pain lanced through my heart. I bit my lip and, swallowing my pride, asked in a low voice, "Can you tell me the truth? Back then, when you came to me with money and asked me to be your girlfriend, what did you really think of me?" I lifted my head and stared straight into his eyes. My hands, hanging at my sides, were clenched into tight fists without me even realizing it. I didn't even notice that because I had mustered all my courage, my whole body was trembling uncontrollably. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I stubbornly refused to let them fall. Ethan looked at me, and his eyes, which rarely showed any emotion, revealed a trace of heartache. He sighed and answered honestly, "I thought, I'm such a loser. Not only does the person I like see me as just a little brother, but the only person I've ever been intimate with, I have to use money just to keep her by my side." Later, I found out that even money didn't work anymore. At that point, I was a little lost, so I went along with my family's arrangements and went abroad to pursue a dual Ph.D. My breath hitched. The tears almost broke through. I wanted to ask him if he thought I was worthless back then. But suddenly, I didn't dare to ask. This answer was good enough. I could use it to lie to myself for the rest of my life. My voice choked with emotion as I pleaded in a low whisper, "Ethan, you've always been so brilliant, so dazzling. If you want it, you can have a very happy life and have children you love. But I only have Lily. She's the only family I have. Can you, please not take her away from me?" I knew I was being selfish, and it wasn't fair to Lily or Ethan. But without Lily, I didn't know what I would have left. I wanted to act strong. But I was so terrified that Ethan would take Lily away. I looked at him, almost begging, as tears I couldn't control streamed down my face. Ethan's pupils contracted. He couldn't stop himself from reaching out with his well-defined hand to wipe the tears from my face. Then, he gently, and with great restraint, pulled me into a hug. He sighed and said, "Okay." Ethan's embrace was still as comforting as I remembered. The light, crisp scent that clung to him was especially reassuring. But this embrace wasn't meant for me. It belonged to the person Ethan loved, and I couldn't allow myself to indulge in it. Reluctantly, I pulled away from his hug. I didn't dare to ask if, after all these years, he had someone else in his heart or if he was still in love with his old flame. I avoided his eyes. Looking down, I said, "The show is still live. I can't be gone for too long, or they'll dock my pay. I'm going back to make dinner." I turned to leave, but he gently caught my hand. I looked back, confused. Ethan's eyes were deep as he looked at me. "You still haven't told me why you chose to leave when you clearly needed the money. Was there something about me that you hated?" I shook my head frantically, not knowing how to answer. I couldn't just say that I was falling deeper and deeper for him and was constantly anxious that he would suddenly and coldly end things. So I decided to be the one to end it first, just to preserve some of my dignity. As I stood there, at a loss, Lily's cool, childish sigh cut through the air. "I can't believe you too. Mom has been secretly looking at the photos she took of you on her phone for years, and she's always searching for news about you. She'll look at my face and her mind will drift off, and I know she's thinking about you. Simply put, Mom likes you. You had your heart set on someone else, and on top of that, you humiliated her with money. If she didn't leave, was she supposed to wait around for you to get tired of her and kick her to the curb?" I was mortified. I couldn't believe my own daughter could read me so easily. I just wanted the ground to swallow me whole to escape this cringe-worthy moment. But Ethan grabbed my shoulders tightly. Is what Lily said true? You really like me? I bit my lip, not yet answering. This time, Ethan pulled me into a tight embrace. He accused me through gritted teeth. Wendy, are you the world champion of holding things in? How can you be so stoic? When we were together, you were so cold to me, always taking that damn pill right in front of my face. But if you liked me, why did you wait 6 years to send me the paternity test last month? Do you have any idea how many times over the years I've wanted to just throw caution to the wind and kidnap you, so you'd have no choice but to look at me every day? I was struggling to process it all. What paternity test? Just then, Lily said calmly, forgot to mention, I sent the paternity test. I wanted to see how you felt about Mom and me. From the looks of it, I can rest easy. You seem to care more about Mom than you do about me. I was stunned. So you only knew you had a daughter because Lily sent you a paternity test? Hearing this, Ethan hugged me even tighter out of frustration. Wendy, are you hearing the important part? For 6 years, I've missed you so much. His beautiful voice held a hint of grievance, making my heart flutter like it had been brushed by a feather. I was completely at a loss. Ethan said he missed me. That was something I never even dared to dream of. But don't you have someone you've always loved? Ethan sighed in exasperation. That was so long ago. Since I got together with you, there hasn't been anyone else in my heart. And do you know how much it hurt me when you were crying earlier, begging me not to fight you for Lily? I thought your heart only had room for our daughter, not for me. I thought you had her on your own just because you wanted a family. I quickly spoke up. How could that be? At the time, my mother's illness had gotten much worse, and I was at my breaking point. If the baby hadn't been yours, I never would have found the courage to keep it. Hearing this, Ethan said, his voice full of sympathy, I'm sorry. I wasn't by your side all these years. I let you suffer so much. I rushed to object. You don't have to apologize. You didn't know, and besides, it was my own issue. Actually, I wanted to thank you and Lily. Every time I felt like I couldn't go on, thinking of you two gave me the courage and motivation to keep going. This just made Ethan's heart ache more. From now on, I'm here. I won't let you or Lily suffer even the slightest bit of hardship ever again. To me, those words were the most beautiful declaration of love in the world. And in the end, Ethan really did keep his promise. Not only did he not let me or Lily suffer in the slightest, but his family was also wonderful to us.